In this next article from ABC News, Joe Magoo Biden tells ABC's David Moir, I would shut down the country to prevent the spread of COVID-19 if scientists recommended it. If you're unaware, we already went over this, but we'll go through it again. Scientists are primarily Democrats. So this we just went through this a little bit ago on the show. We got to go through it again. I'm sorry if you've been watching long enough that you have to watch it twice. This is an article from Pew Research. It says public praises science, scientists fault public, media. And in this article, it shows you the percent of scientists that vote for Democrats and Republicans. And it's a little bit hard to find. So here it is. Yay, I found it quickly this time. This graph says, or chart says partisan and ideological differences, and it shows you that only 6% of scientists are Republicans. General population is 23%. 55% of scientists are Democrats. That's freaky. General population is at 35%, and then there's a somewhat normal ratio of independents. And so what this shows you is that Democrats or scientists are extremely biased towards the liberal viewpoint. When scientists look at data, if it is political in nature, if it's not part of a job where that's the specific thing that they've been tasked to analyze, they're going to tell you they're everything through a political lens. They're going to look at it through a lens of fairness. Because I'm an engineer. I work in this industry. And so I have to deal with these people. I've been canceled by these people because they didn't like the tone of my voice. And I am an anti-feminist. And so that makes me an imaginary misogynistic pig boogeyman from MSNBC and the Southern Poverty Law Center. The one that mistreats women, locks them up, beats them, rapes them, won't let them vote, go to school or work, and makes them wear burqas. So they're in their authoritarian structure. So they live in these, they work in these ivory towers where you have to give lip service to what is called the doctrine of diversity. The doctrine of diversity is dogmatic belief that non-diverse teams are inferior to diverse teams. They've done a bunch of fake news studies that showed that more diverse teams were more productive and had more innovations than non-diverse teams. And so they believe that you have to replace the white people, the white males in the workplace, to replace them with African Americans, women, the Kleenex, the Latinx, and the Wajans, because the white man is a privileged, racist, white supremacist, and that if you don't have minorities on the team, that's inferior to the all-white team. Now, the problem with their studies is that their version of diversity is very, very simplistic, very cartoonish almost. They think that diversity means skin color. This is not true. No, you're judging somebody based off the color of their skin there. In my experience, not all black people act the same, and a lot of black people act just like white people. And having a bunch of black people that act just like white people on a team with white people isn't any more diverse than a team full of white people. The thing about diversity, the reason what they got wrong in these studies was that they failed to take into account that diversity is locality. It's not your skin color. Skin color doesn't make you diverse at all. What makes you diverse is diversity of thought. And diversity of thought is highly correlated to temporal location, where you're at, what time. So diversity, you want people from different states. It's not that you want people of different colors and Whaman and African Americans, Wajans and Kleenex, because you need Kleenex to dry the rivers of libertarians. What you need people that think differently than you. These people don't live in your city. They don't live in your state. They live in some other state, and they might be the same skin color as you. So this is fundamentally what they missed. But in these they come from radicalized leftist universities. In these universities, they fire any teacher who does not espouse the far leftist anti-racist beliefs, the cultural Marxism. This is, okay, I brought up cultural Marxism earlier. We probably got a bunch of new people on the stream. I have to explain cultural Marxism now because these scientists are engaging in cultural Marxism. Cultural Marxism is a form of Okay, most people have no idea what Marxism is either. Let's look this up. What is Marxism? This is why this show is cool, because I have no script and I will go with the flow of consciousness. Marxism, method of socioeconomic analysis, uses materialist interpretations of historical event development, better known as historical Marxism, to understand class relationships. And so the people who write this stuff on Wikipedia are communists, dude. Like these. Marxism is a form of socialism that involves dialectic materialism. Bottom line up front. Dialectical perspective. Yeah. So it showed it up here briefly. This is the wait, hold on. Where dialectic materialism? That's dialectic analysis. Aesthetics. So this is the thing. Karl Marx believed that there was the white supremacist Karl Marx believed that there was this eternal class conflict between the lower class and the bourgeoisie, that the lower class had to come and kill the bourgeoisie. This is the primary tenet of Marxism. That's what caused them to kill so many people. So they said that communism failed. Nazis said communism failed because it was a flat hierarchy, and that caused everything to be biased towards the Jews, and that you had to have National Socialism so people would compete for the top slot, so they wouldn't just they wouldn't just get it from their in-group. Cultural Marxism is where they said, no, it was not Marxism that failed. It was the culture that failed. And so we have to replace the culture. And this is what they did in the cultural de-evolution in China, where they killed, and in the USSR, where they killed over 100 million people in order to eliminate the culture. In the USSR, the socialists or the communists were mainly in the cities, and the rural areas were capitalist. And they could not get the country people to not be capitalist. So they went through the countryside with mobs of socialist punk scum from the city, and they murdered massive amounts of people. I think it was 60 million people that they murdered. Just like, well, hold on. I think that was like that. The cultural Marxist period was after World War II happened. Before World War II, they had slaughtered some number of millions, probably less than 20. But I don't have that exact number for you. So this was cultural Marxism. What article were we on? We're on the ABC article. Talked about the scientist. And so this is, the scientists believe in cultural Marxism because they believe that the white man is racist and that We have to remove the white man from the workplace because they are privileged. They do not deserve to be there, even though they worked extremely hard to get that fancy degree to put them there. And they, in their groups, they go around and they speak in these groups. And in certain groups, hold on. So they'll do these morning meetings. Some places they're called scrum meetings at businesses, or they're every business will call them different. And they'll go around in a circle. Everybody's got to give their press briefing, their briefing of what they did. And in many companies, they are forced to say anti-racist things and give lip service to black looter mob. And this is because they're trying to hire minorities, because they say that the white man is holding down the African Americans, the Whaman, the Wajans, and the Kleenex. And so we have to remove them because if you have a team with white males on it, it's inferior to the team that has African Americans on it and the Kleenex. So and they're already flooded with Asians. So the problem with this is that Asians have worked incredibly hard to get where they're at. They have a birth rate of like only child. So they have to import more Asians from Asia to keep their birth numbers up, or else the Asians will just completely disappear from America. So those people, we probably shouldn't be messing with them, because probably they're so stressed out and having such a bad time from excelling, going too hard, to the point where they have to put nets up around the buildings in Asia to prevent the Asians from jumping off, because they're that stressed out at work from having to compete in this extreme competitive environment. And they bring these people and these extremely toxic Asian people that are overachievers. Toxic overachievers is what they're called in the Laws of Human Nature book by Robert Greene. And then you add in the H-1B visa people. And if you're unfamiliar with H-1B visa people, they're always under threat of being fired if they don't hit their performance metric. And these people are largely scientists and tech workers. If they don't hit the marks, they're going to get deported. So they have to overachieve, and they go harder than the Asians. Like, they go so hard that they become glowingly radioactive toxic in the workplace. No one else can compete with these people because they import them from out of the country. So they don't have their family there. Their social scene is at work. They don't have a scene outside of work, and nobody can be as productive as that. Like, it's for maybe 1 in 1,000 people will be that dorky and nerdy and that much of a antisocial loser that they will engage in this toxic overachieving with the H-1B visa people, trying to compete with the Asians to see who can be the most toxic overachiever in the workplace. And if they think that you're racist, you will be gone. They canceled me. I can't get a job for those people because I criticize liberal dogma, because I am the racist Republican, which is not true. Republicans are not racist. They've never been known for being racist until Donald Trump was elected. And these people will believe anything that their other scientist buddies say. They say, I took a class in this in college. I know all about it. You don't believe the science? You're killing people. How can you not believe the science? Can't you see the data? And really what's happening is, like, they're twacked out on antidepressants because they've been working too hard and they haven't had sex in a really long time, that they're neurotic when they go home. they're popping like 6 different kinds of antidepressants and anti-anxiety pills, and not 6, but probably on 2, an anti-anxiety and an antidepressant, and they think they know everything because they took a class in college. But trust me, just because you took a class in college does not mean that you're an expert in it. A lot of these things are very subtle. I am a computer engineer and work with AI, and a lot of times I will think that I know something because I took a class in college, and I will sit there and argue with you until I'm blue in the face about why I'm right. And then in the end, it will turn out that I misunderstood something because I hadn't taken the class in many years, and I was wrong, and I made myself look like an idiot. After doing this enough times, you eventually get too embarrassed to do this pattern of behavior. You eventually start to get a little bit more hip to the fact that your memory is fallible and that you don't know everything, and that you have to listen to people who work in the field regularly, who are actively working, because their memory is fresh and they're aware of the up-to-date research. The scientists, however, they believe anything that the ivory tower liberal journalists will tell them. If they see it in an article and it says, Orange Man bad, this % on the data, they will take that data and they will twist it to mean whatever they want, because they're neurotic. They're also, too, they get to be assholes in the workplace. So there's two kinds of major assholes in this workplace. There's the extremely stressed out asshole who's lashing out, and then there's the passive aggressive toxic positivity people. So there's many subsets of the two things, but there's mainly the really aggressive, like, everything like this. Why does it have to be like this? You guys don't know shit. You're not doing it right. You're not using the right practices. Yeah, if you only used the XYZ development method, this would go perfectly fine. You would not have any sort of problems with anything. And it's because they think they think it's one reason. There's one reason that's causing this. And the reason is because everybody else is stupid but me. I've been guilty of this too. That's how I know of this behavior pattern. Is I used to bitch about other people's shitty development processes, how bad their process was, and how much better, how much superior my process was. I do issue-driven development with the UML-centric back end, and I cut out all these different new technologies, and I just go with that vanilla UML, and everybody should just do use case testing exactly like me. If you don't, you're stupid. This is why you can't trust scientists. There's a large percentage of them that are actually like this. They actually think this. And then you have the passive-aggressive goody-goodies. And these people are even scarier. The aggressive people are actually rather entertaining. And in the end, they will actually apologize that they were an asshole. But then you get the toxic positivity people. And these are the people that, there's 2 types of toxic positivity people. There's one group of toxic positivity people who are engaging in... they go to conferences from self-help gurus, and they're trying to one up their game all the time, take it to the next level, be more competitive. And a lot of them engage in, they've been manipulated by self-help gurus who are, if these self-help gurus ever solve your problem, then you would not buy their next book or go to their next conference. So they can't actually solve the problem. They have to just tell you a bunch of fluffy shit that keeps you going, so that you can continue to purchase their books, so you keep needing it. If they ever fix the problem, they would run out of money. And then there's these people are going way too hard, and they have all these ideologies in their head that they got from some self-help guru. And if you don't do the same thing as the self-help guru, then you're out. They'll fire you, and so that they're toxic positive because they believe that everything needs to be perfect and on this positive level. And if you're not that, then you are not in the competitive. You're not buying everything the self-help guru told them. So now you're a threat, needs to be taken out. You got to get fired. Then there's another group of toxic positive people that, and these come from Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature, by the way. The other group of toxic positive people are, there's a certain subset of people that don't like arguing. They won't, and it's because there's a genetic, there's a gene that's making it, arguments will lead to people fighting, lead to people killing each other, and can lead to harm to the child. And so they're basically being goody-goody parents, and they'll shut you down anytime that they don't like the tone of your voice, or if they think that you are being aggressive. They will cower in fear. They're cowards. They're incredibly toxic. You might think that they're nice, but trust me, they are not actually nice. The only reason why they're being nice to you is because they want something. If they don't want something from you, they will just be incredibly mean to you. They will talk all kinds of shit about you behind your back, calling you toxic, when in the reality of the world, they are glowing radioactive toxic. You have to look at it from the perspective of toxicity means that it's bad for people. And so whenever you have people who are trying to shut you down because they don't want you to argue around the baby, but you're around a bunch of adults, you're like trying to treat an adult like a child. And that's where they are glowing radioactive toxic. So these scientists are all, dude, they are so radioactive toxic. It's not even funny, dude. It is not. It's scary. My sister is a scientist, and trust me, she is a lunatic. If you ask me, I think she's a drunk who needs to stop taking antidepressants and anti-anxiety pills because she turns into a maniac. Totally not legit person to trust for any sort of science information. Not at all. Not legit in any way, shape, or form, because she's on anti-anxiety, antidepressants. She drinks too much. These are the people that they're saying that we have to listen to everything that they say. And I'm just going to have to give a big fuck you to Joe Magoo Biden and Kamala the Snitch Harris to your bullshit plan. You want to lock the whole country down because some Democrat scientist was looking through the data through a political lens. Fuck you, Joe Biden and Kamala the Snitch Harris.